What is going on, everyone? This is Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is March 19th, 2021. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today we're going to be talking about the price action in the indices. We'll go under the hood and check out our sectors and style factors. We will talk about some of my trades for the day, and then we'll wrap up with some options order flow. But before we jump in, quick risk disclaimer, nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan, your own risk parameters, and last but not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. All right, so let's jump in here, and we will take a look at this wild day of price action. So we had S&P 500 finish down 0.19%. We had the QQQ, the NASDAQ, finish up 0.35%. We had the IWM small caps finish up 0.75%. And we had the Dow Jones close down 0.81%, lagging the rest of the market. So today was options expiration day. It was quad witching. And we got some news in the morning, which really got things off to a rocky start. The Federal Reserve basically said they were not going to extend pretty much like the accommodative policy that they had on the SLR ratios for banks, which pretty much meant they did not have to count their treasury holdings towards the rest of their assets. It allowed them to pretty much, take on more leverage. So yeah, that was not extended in the morning. That really created some volatility in the market. So you can see here on the S&P 500, we tested this 20-day simple moving average, and we actually undercut it before we got some dip buyers coming in, and we ended up closing above this monthly point of control here. So in the grand scheme, I think yesterday was a pretty big washout day, pretty big extended range candle, and then today I think we got our day two washout here where we undercut this key moving average before regaining support. So yeah, definitely down 0.24%, but given the volatility that we saw in the morning, I think this could have really gone off the rails today. If we look at the Qs, they actually finished positive, up 0.35%. The Qs are below this monthly value area. They are also below the key moving averages and just caught a little bit of a bounce today. But nice, at least a green candle for the Qs. IWM, the trend still really looks intact. So you can see we had a nice green candle for the IWM. Pretty much the pattern for today's price action was, a lot of red in the morning, a little bit of washout. Dip buyers came in, within the first about hour of trading, had a nice little rally. And then I would say in the afternoon, there was a bit of a fade where it looks like there was profit taking, and we just did not close on the highs. But yeah, IWM still put in a strong candle here. If we look at the Dow Jones, this definitely looks interesting. So we've had this dynamic where value is outperforming growth for quite some time now. And these Dow stocks have really gotten pretty extended, to be honest. So with the Dow, it's okay, this one looks best in terms of the trend, but this one, it's still pretty elevated from the 20-day simple moving average. So I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if we got some sort of give back, where growth outperforms a little bit and we get some of these Dow Jones, old economy stocks coming in a bit. Because I actually posted about this yesterday where, I posted all the constituents of the Dow Jones, and it was pretty much Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan that were really holding the index up into yesterday. And once this news dropped about the SLR requirements, the banks got hit, and there was some profit taking in some other areas as well. Energy really got hit yesterday. So yeah, for the Dow Jones, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up tagging this 20-day simple moving average. And if we take a look at our FinViz heat map, you can see this is kind of like a wonky day where even within groups there were some disparities here. So Apple, you can see down slightly, Microsoft as well. But then we got some nice strength in Facebook and Amazon. And Facebook actually looks pretty interesting here. So you can see Facebook, nearing the top of this sideways consolidation pattern it's been in. So if I pull up the weekly chart for Facebook, yeah, you can see, Facebook looks like it's on the verge of a breakout here after a long period of consolidation. If we look at Apple, it's a much different story where this one is really struggling a bit. Amazon, these are still the weekly charts. Amazon had a better day today, but you can see Amazon, still struggling a little bit. And Google, also positive. Google still looks like it's in a pretty nice trend here, and it's really just consolidating sideways. But yeah, as of right now, I'd say Facebook, is looking the best out of those FANG names. And then another positive note here, Tesla closed positive. So if we take a look here, and Tesla actually closed pretty close to the high of the day. So that's another thing where the price action was kind of weird today, but there were some silver linings in terms of these growth stocks. So Tesla closing by the highs, IWO, which is the growth ETF. You can see this one close right at the bottom of the monthly value area, pretty close to its highs of the day, up 1.36%. And then you can see a lot of profit taking the financials, profit taking in restaurants. So this looks like a bit of like an unwind of this trade that's been on of the reopening names. So we'll have to see if that unwind continues. But this looks like it's maybe like day one. So you can see the industrials, some profit taking as well. So you have to remember these names have been very, very overbought. So one thing I'm going to be looking for is like in the coming weeks, now do we start to get that rotation back a little bit into some of these growth names? So you can see here today, we have some new leadership as well. We have home builders in one of our top slots, up 1.32%. Regional banks took a little bit of a break, down 0.83%. And one thing that stuck out to me, we had the ARC Genomics Fund finish up 2.49%. We had KWeb up as well. So yeah, definitely a bounce in some of these high growth areas of the market. In terms of our style factors, you can see the momentum style factor performed the best. And then we had the international momentum after that. It was kind of odd that, off the back of, I guess, like bad news from the Fed, these growth stocks, which have been really, having a tough time, actually outperformed today. One thing that I'm noticing is that some of these individual names are really starting to take off. So like Lucy, for instance, this is one that I added into the Pristine Capital Trend portfolio. I added this one on Monday when we did our rebalance. This one is shooting off to new highs. So it's not really like when this growth scare first started where like everything plunged. That was like right over here. Now we're getting institutions that are taking shots at specific names. Like this one, GRWG, had a really nice day as well, closing near the highs. So a lot of these names are actually starting to stick out now. This is the name that I have on EOLS. And it looks just fine. So I'm starting to notice like some positive divergences under the hood with some of these growth names. So let's take a look. We'll pull up some of my trades for the day. Today I came in a bit lighter in my portfolio. I came in with some hedges on. So when we had that morning weakness, I was in a good spot for the morning weakness where my portfolio was insulated. But let's take a look here. So coming into today, I actually took some Dow Jones puts. This is the DIA ETF. Scalped those for a tiny winner. Closed them out for 1066, paid 1055. I scalped some Boeing puts as well. That one didn't work. The Boeing actually looks pretty strong in terms of these industrials names. So you can see here. I stopped out of this one once the market looked like it was getting a bit stronger. So Boeing, while it could still end up, meeting this 20-day, this one, closed well off the highs here. Yeah, let's take a look. Then basically today, got sort of boring, so I was just looking for a scalp because we were just getting a lot of back and forth price action. I closed out some plug puts that I had put on for a nice winner here, paid 840, closed them out for 940. I was hedged for the Qs. And like I said, for this hedge, this was really just insurance, in case things really spilled to the downside. I stopped out of these as it looked like, okay, the Qs, they were starting to see some signs of life. I scalped some SPY calls, and I paid $12.01 for those, closed them out for $12.58. I was able to catch, that nice run up in the SPY for a nice scalp winner. In the positions I took on for swings, I took some Micron calls, and I took some Starbucks calls as well for May. And Micron is a name that I traded. I put on a bullish calendar spread that I closed out yesterday, actually. I made some good money with the calendar spread. One thing I like to do is when a name, I'm trading it well, and when it's in a nice trend, I try to go back to it whenever I can. So Micron is a name that was really strong up until yesterday's, big downward move in the growth names. This one didn't close on the highs. I can see there's some profit taking here, but closed above the key moving averages, and we'll see what happens. I'm looking for some higher levels in Micron as well as just these semi stocks in general. So you can see the SOX ETF. Definitely been struggling, but you can see it held the bottom of value today and closed a nice green candle. So let's see what happens with those semis. Starbucks is another name that I put on some calls. This one, it's in a really nice trend, and this one, really got pummeled into the close. I don't know if this was like some rebalancing thing or what, but you'll see a lot of stocks that have above average volume today, and it's going to be tough to put much weight on that because, with the Opex, the quad witching, with the rebalance, you don't really know what's creating all this volume. But yeah, this one closed right on this 20-day simple moving average here, right into support. So I picked up some calls on this name. Then for some stock trades, I closed out of my Boeing in the morning. I had some common shares, and this one, I just did not really want to be in these old economy stocks, as it looks like, okay, today's the day where it looks like we might start seeing profit taking on this, recovery trade. Because with this recovery trade, it really caught a lot of momentum, and right now I would say we're in the heart of it. Like, this is the 1-year anniversary of COVID, essentially, within a couple days. So pretty much all the economic data is going to look essentially the best it's ever going to look right now as we are comping up against these numbers from when the economy was locked down. So yeah, stopped out of Boeing. I took Etsy for a long. And Etsy is another name that typically leads when these growth names, really move to the upside. Etsy did not close on the highs. You can see this one had a long upper wick, but still closed with a nice green candle. So today was definitely like, for short-term trading, definitely pretty frustrating where, you enter a name and then in the afternoon it's just like, all right, the sell programs are coming in. But we'll have to see, next week, how things really shape up. Yeah, Etsy, another one that's in a very strong trend here. So we'll see what happens with Etsy. Another name that's making a big move today, this one, ENGMF. This is one I currently have on. This is one of my biggest positions here. And ENGMF, this is another one like Vuzi, like some of the other ones that we talked about, that is really bucking the trend here. It reports earnings on Monday, so we'll have to see what happens with that. But this is definitely a super performing stock. Or this one's been on a crazy run. I don't really see many people talking about this one, like on Twitter. Like, doesn't really seem like a very crowded name. But this one, really nice trend. So we'll have to see what happens on Monday for earnings. But this one had a really nice sort of like cup and handle look today, and it is breaking out. So yeah, for some select names, there was follow through, but for most assets today, it was kind of like, we got a lot of mean reversion and all that stuff. So let's see. And let's pull up really quick our options order flow. And I will let you go here. All right. And so for our options order flow, we had some puts coming in when we had the morning weakness, which makes sense. This is typically what I see. Like when the market's really getting hammered, I'll start seeing put sweeps coming down. And a lot of times that's, when the sell-off starts to end, to be honest. We had some Airbnb calls go up for 2022. This was a name that I called out in our Discord channel earlier today. I do have some call spreads on for this one for next week. So I'll have to see if that trade works out. I have the 210 by 215 call spreads. This one will really have to make a move very quickly. But I called this one out earlier today where it looked like this one was at a really nice buy point at one point when it was trading pretty much right on the 50-day simple moving average. Let me just pull it up here. So yeah, this one, in my opinion, like that was pretty good trade location for them. So they got it, pretty close to that 50-day simple moving average. But yeah, this one held the 20-day. So yeah, let's see what happens with Airbnb. Yeah, some call buyers hit the tape for that one. And let's see. We had some Baidu calls coming in as well. This looks like a stock replacement play. I see a lot of this in the days leading right up to options expiration. Really, this one, their call's expiring today. That's likely just a stock replacement play. Maybe they wanted some exposure to the stock. I see some financials calls going up. So it looks like players are buying the dip in some of these financials names. So the XLF, let's actually take a look at that. Yeah, XLF, it's still in a really nice trend. And this one just barely, missed the 20-day simple moving average. Closed well off the lows as well. So yeah, it looks like they're buying the dip. But XLF, I mean, this is just a crazy move for financials. So I think there's some risk here, to be honest, where like, the thing is with these reopening trades, I really think a lot of these reopening stocks, they've had a lot of excitement for the past month. But once we get over those comps of like, okay, you're comping up against the COVID quarters when you were closed, I think these stocks could just get really boring again. So with the XLF, it's like, we'll have to see what happens with the XLF. As soon as that trend breaks for some of these reopening stocks, like I just think you don't want to be anywhere near them. Like I actually saw a headline today for Royal Caribbean, saying that they were going to be starting to cruise again. So for me, Royal Caribbean, like I actually love this company. My family, we've taken a couple cruises with them. I love cruising. But yeah, even for these names, it's like now that they're saying, okay, now we're reopening for business, it kind of makes me think like, okay, so is that the beginning of a good investment opportunity or the end of it? So I think there was a lot of benefit if you were buying anywhere in here where like, okay, I'm going to buy this, right now cruising isn't even going on, and I'm going to play for the reopening essentially. Once that reopening happens, then it's like, what are you playing for now at this point? Like I guess you're playing for a move back to the all-time highs, but a lot of these names definitely have been diluted. So just kind of like a side note, same thing with this Jets ETF. Like I don't know, once the economy really reopens and everybody's back flying again, I would think there's just like a ton of bag holders up here that are just like, get me out of these airlines. I've been stuck for a year. So we'll have to see. Yeah, this reopening trade definitely had a crazy run. Who knows, maybe it has more legs to it. But that about does it for this market recap video for our options order flow. Hope you all had a good trading week. Happy Friday, and I will see you all next week.